Hello, everyone, and welcome to another World of Sasquatch. Today's episode is being recorded on 12/22/24. This is going to be more of an impromptu episode today. But before we get into anything, we will now open this circle to true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, to let healing energies in. Let them love you and nourish you and bring you to your highest good. We ask for benevolence now to come in with no conflicting agenda, so that we may have this conversation today in peace and with the intention of growth and learning, so that we may all decide what we want from our lives and be able to have our intentions focus on what we want out of life. And we would ask for any malevolent or mischievous being to be swept away at this time in order to be able to have this conversation, and for you at home, in order for you to be able to listen to this in the peace that is intended. And with that, and with great, great blessings that we've always send your way, we say so be it.
And so be it. Off recording, we were talking to Fuma for a minute to actually see what the subject matter was going to be. And this is more of a, I suppose you can say it's a Q&A, but Fuma just doesn't pop up for no reason. So what is it going to be again? No. Okay, let me see. Wants me to continue. Okay. All right, we'll just do it that way. Right. Okay, Fuma. True benevolent Fuma with no conflicting agendas. Taking full advantage of the fact that you have an enriched orgone environment and can withstand it better than before, which is impressive. But we figured take advantage of this situation by coming in. Now, the environments in which all of you or both of you have found yourselves within, going from place to place, interview to interview, conference and or psychic fair type environments. There's a multitude of factors that exist, that will always exist, no matter where you go. There are those factors that are unavoidable, unpreventable, and it will not just be one thing by which the energies are governed. This is an organic unity, but at the same time, different stages that people will be at, different areas of thought that people will be at. Now, this is not the only reason that I have come in. This also has to do with not only the merch department, but this has to do with the energetics department. You guys also have created, think of this as more of a part two to the bust situation. You guys have created and are creating a multitude of these pieces that are also radiating a great amount of frequency. Faster moving, that's the way we prefer it. This will continue along this thread. And this also, I wish to say, there are multitudes of merch out there that people have created, from shirts to mugs to what have you. I even recently had him remove my image from a mouse pad image. We are making it so that things like that are slightly more energetic. Like the stickers, for instance. This, because of Bjorn's magical intuitiveness, where we came through, he put the word exclusive on the badge, meaning this makes it so that we can walk freely into an area. Think of it as an energetic or etheric signpost. This makes it so that we can walk freely amongst an area. Now, does it need to be seen to do these things? No. It can be seen just by the energies, just like with any of your other stickers and such. But with this makes it so that we can kind of more vet or control the situation better. Now, the reason I actually bring this up, and this isn't more of a loose lips sink ships kind of thing, this is more in the open. The particular, how can I put this, energies are leaning quite heavily at the moment to get me to not, let's say, some of these things. There are, and we've spoken about other channelers channeling them, and there's actually not a lot left that do this sort of thing with ourselves. There's not a lot that do this. Yes, we are of a quantum nature, but there are certain people that we do not speak to. There's very few, and there's even a couple at the conference. Now, why is this important? It is because the energies are swaying in our favor. Every now and again, there comes a time where we can come out to shine, as it were. We can come out to play. This is one of those times. We were urgent and more abrasive with the artist, Jason Shimano, because of the fact there was an urgency to get these pieces out. We were urgent with Bjorn for the same reason. We're apologetic there for the urgency, but at the same time, the conduit was required and the signpost was required. From flag form to sticker form, it doesn't matter. It matters not. So we are making it so that there is a better seat at the table for our people. Not taking advantage, making this a self-serving, shameless self-promotion. Some might mistake it for that. And others are being told around the internet that merch is a no-no for us. They're partially right, but they're partially wrong. Because what we are saying is there's just certain things we don't want. Don't mind mugs. Just like he found one of my mug of my mug earlier today, which is fine. We just didn't want it under the old GIC, but we realized the product has already been made out there, and that's perfectly fine. Don't wish to ruin that. But with the new installation of that, perfectly fine with it. Also with the new World of Sasquatch, which is just as good. So with that, I'll just go into questions.
Well, you're bringing up an interesting, I guess, concept of being heard. Okay. And I find that interesting because we had a conversation not too long ago with Telnorskus, and I had asked the question about out there in the cosmos, from the Earth home, where you guys originated from, and, going to, let's just say, the Galactic Federation, trying to have conversations, trying to advocate. And, he kind of came across to saying it was really difficult because a lot of times you're being brushed off.
Yeah.
So I find this an interesting conversation of, there being better, let's just say, energetic times of when a voice could be heard better. Is that also translating bigger out into the cosmos of being heard better?
Yes. Just like if you weren't heard better, wouldn't you raise your voice slightly? It's not it's not like we're screaming at any of them. It's more like, I suppose in the etherics, it's just like in your Doctor Who where they were measuring psionics of the oud species that was in that. And one of the people said, "Oh, it's like they're shouting in each other's head." Think of a volume that's been turned up in the analem or the calm. Think of the volume that's been turned up. Granted, in that episode, it was the devil that was possessing them, but in this instance, it's more the spirit volume has been turned up, let's say. And we're famous for going and yelling it from things from the rooftops. In this, and some tribes find that disrespectful. I'm just saying when somebody goes screaming in the woods, and not all the tribes like that, or the tree tapping or knocking, some do. Some find it okay. I'm okay with it. Others don't. It's personal preference. Just for future reference for people listening to this, going and screaming in the woods at 3 in the morning. Would you want somebody in your bedroom at 3 in the morning screaming in your ear? No, just saying. But in this, we recognize the need to have our voices heard more. And it's not like, again, shameless self-promotion. It is more or less trying to get a message or a voice out. And do we choose people very pickily, if that's a word? We're very picky about it. Yes. And there were some that have withdrawn from others. Other forest people have withdrawn from other people because, yes, do we reshift our energies? Yes. Do we find an opportunity to speak? Yes. But do we also care about and for those that we speak through? Yes. They have to have a particular quality, not to butter ourselves up to yourselves. It is more or less a mutually beneficial partnership here. Yes, we feel extreme love for you guys and you guys towards us. But with this, we're seeing an opportunity, and the consensus from those that voted on it from other tribes basically said this is the route that needs to go. Others objected to, not to yourselves, but to the merch idea. That's why we were voting on what to do with the original artist. We couldn't completely figure it out. I did make my case towards him. Others were like, some were leave it alone. Others were, the majority was go for it. This is always put to a vote in that way with ourselves and the elders. And there was a opportunity also that he was misusing some of the names like Yeti and Patty and any of those things we find in our front too. Yeti being a type of reptilian and Patty being the Patterson-Gimlin incident, of which you guys have already spoken about on the channel. So I won't reinvent the wheel, as you say, but which most don't want to talk about it anyway. We were all, you were lucky that anybody did at all when that came up. And so, but at any rate, with that tragedy. And they try to do, this is also brings me to that a little bit, where they try to disguise this as something great. This is a monumental historical thing. If it were a legitimate unity, that would be a historical thing, but that is where the merch fails. That is where the message fails because of the massacre that took place with the reptilians, Patterson Gimlin, those two, and the military and draconian forces. Then it was she was forced out in the open and harmed quite significantly. And I will not besmirch her any longer. She rarely comes through for any reason. So you were lucky you got her that time on the World Sasquatch before, and she recognized the importance of saying the words and didn't recognize. So I thought he was a psychic soldier and was apprehensive at first. And like with anybody, if you kept bothering somebody, they would also be a little perturbed. But refining, we are refining how we are seen. We are refining where we are seen and in what venues we are seen. The conference being a good stepping stone, as also to have a piece of the pie or a piece of the action, let's say, like your Star Trek would quote. But there are many races there as well. So we are also making it possible. We've worked with the Spirit Lake Forest people, trying to get something together in other places as well, trying to have a consensus, like what you were saying, a consensus of what reality is and a consensus of a unity at the conference and other venues such. This is what we are doing currently.
But you don't mean, I'm stating this, but it's a question. Because you and the other tribes certainly are not diminishing attempts to just reach out and have a soulful communication with just regular people, but they may just not be public in having these conversations.
Yes, there are others that are in private that speak to us as well, and they do not wish to be public. However, we wish to be public, to show ourselves have a seat at that table, you see. And again, this may seem like an ego move. It is not. This is more of growing that communication and connection by having a seat at that table more fervently.
Well, true, because again, somewhere or other, we're moving to come together to be face to face, eye to eye, within the same frequency, and so that has to start. It has to start somewhere, and of course, you live here just like we live here. So I mean, these communications and expanding the thought of who lives on Earth, and and everything has to grow. And so
Yes. We share this world with you and you with us. Yes.
Exactly. So we have to find a way to, broker. And again, as you say, even within ourselves, you within your group, us within our group, we're still working on genuine organic unities, trying to grow them. You guys find a way to maintain unity, and sometimes we'll agree to disagree even within different clans.
Mhm.
So all of that,
Yes.
is faced by everybody, right now. I find it interesting. There's actually two things. I kind of agree with you that Chris has been making things that would normally drive us completely batshit crazy because there'd be too much of it.
Mhm.
And for some reason, it hasn't been so bad. So I thank you for.
We've also filtered a little bit of this so that you also can acclimate to it, but it hasn't been that bad. But because you've also acclimated to it, having done it multiple times, the genomic structure is adapting, you see, to it.
Right, which is great. It makes things, I think it makes things more portable for us to take with us to try and create a good environment for Chris to be able to go and channel in and feel like we can create an environment that makes that safe, because Chris wants to do everything that he can to ensure that what he's bringing through is the real deal, and there is some work behind making that happen. So I appreciate hearing that you feel that we are slowly adapting and growing. Not necessarily what we have around us is not necessarily what most people need around them. This is a little bit different story because of what we're doing, and again, trying to create a really strong foundational environment to be in, and now making it portable. So that's good. But what I wanted to know about the energies you're talking about, can you expand any on the thought of energies changing in a dynamic way that you feel this is a good time for you? I'm more curious about overall, kind of like the finger to the wind in the energy report.
Yes, and oh yeah, this would be perfect for this because other people he saw on Facebook, people in the disclosure community are all reporting the same thing. Some would say you feel mellow, but there's extreme energies. Others were saying they feel like they're in a riptide. Yes, is this some of the earth energy changes? Yes. But again, it's a mixed bag or a chaotic soup, as we've said in the past, where you have the psionic dampening, you have your technology, you have the timeline shifting, you have all of these things happening at once. And you also, some people equate it to the energies of the central sun. This is true around your Halloween time and also your solstice. People forget yesterday was the 21st of December. That is the shortest day of the year. And it is a special kind of time of year where it's a PowerPoint. This is not stopped just because it's before and after. It builds, just like it builds up to Halloween all year long. You also have your spring equinoxes and times of the year like that aren't as strong. And then you build up to Halloween and the Samhain and dip down a little bit through November and up to now. And this right now is what people are feeling, but it is contesting the spirit and earth energies. The spirit and earth energies are contesting with your artificial intelligence, with the psionic dampening, and with a lot of the technological horse crap that is around. This is what you are feeling currently. Also, you are feeling an enhancement of some of it because of the peace you have, because it is becoming essentially like a ley line intersection or a conduit or a, they call them earth chakras, but that's not the right term. It is more like we used that term with you earlier on in our discussions because you were using it. It's not the right term. It is on the timeline in which you sat on where some of those blockages that were taking place are no longer at the time. Like you were seeing the caps over the earth intersection points. No. Your pieces, the Tower Buster especially, even though you can't have a bunch of it around for very long, you are remaining within the Analam, more within that. That's why that is impressive. Even though for those that were in the SSP, it could trigger alters and things of that nature as well. For your regular Joe, it is fine. Also, what he was saying, where the body usually goes into a fight or flight because it feels it's dying because you're closer to spirit. Other beings feel like it's like you're closer to spirit, like ourselves. We're not closer to spirit. We're physical. It's just that your body reacts that way. Your bodies are not reacting as much that way anymore. That's impressive because you've encoded and decoded the proper information back and forth. You've interacted a lot to where this is not a thing. You notice even your dog is not reacting. Sammy is not reacting to the orgone field as much too. It is because the adaptation is taking place. And also the toxins that are quickly purging from your system as well. Other are part of this, but also you're also realizing what you can and cannot have. Other people are reporting the stomach issues because of this energy too. Of course, anything like that make you queasy. It would be like being seasick. With toxin and enriched energies, you get both those together. It's it's like that. So that's what he's feeling. There has been feeling. It's that same thing. You got to know what you can be around and what you cannot. When you get into a high set of psionics, your body will not, and I repeat, will not tolerate certain food dynamics any longer. That is just the truth of it. Our people, and some of the ones in your frequencies, got addicted to sugar one time. And they became extremely violent. It will literally pull a Jekyll and Hyde with us even more so. We cannot touch it. We're fine with sugars and fruits and stuff like that, as long as there's no chemicals in it. We're horrible with chemicals. But you guys are also, and I will not name the brand of the soap you were using. We'll just say that it carried part of our name. Mm-hmm. We are withdrawing from products, as I've said before, that carry our name, that are not as genuine. This was the energy change he was feeling. He thought it wasn't doing a good enough job, and that is it. That's what he was picking up on. Is it? It's because it had our face on it. We are withdrawing the energies from those things that do not remain genuine. This is the truth of it, as it stands with us currently.
So I have to ask because, a couple years before, there was actually great concern for your adolescent, especially adolescent males, with the energies, because again, your plans and different people's susceptibility to things. How are your families doing?
It's a challenge. He has even seen an adolescent walk through the property here wearing a red hat and smoking a cigarette. And he accused that particular one of Jack rolling a homeless person, which he said to him. Because he said, oh, he just saw some guy that was sleeping on a bench, and basically that's what happened. It was basically stealing from a homeless guy, or that's the equivalent, I will say, to that particular forest person. It is the equivalent to taking candy from a baby. Not cool. But have some of our people taken something from one person and give it to another. Elementals do this too, like the two you experienced in Globe that time, giving you the $40, those particular elementals, because you got rid of the ETs that were assisting the ICC in the area. They were grateful, and the native groups were grateful, so therefore they gave you, they basically the gas money to get home. It's pretty much, yeah. So, granted, yes, that could be more. And also, our people gave you that silver that time based on the agent that was in your midst that we didn't even know about. So as we discover these situations, we are making it so that we self-correct some of these things. You'll even see some shows disappear of non-genuine Sasquatch shows. Either the beings that are interacting are not forest people. They could be aquatic drinker. They could be rogue dogmen. Dogmen will start to talk more as well on your GIC and dogman brands, things of that nature. They honestly don't care how they get their voice out as long as some of them are allowed to talk about whatever the hell they want to talk about, which is great. But we planted our flag, no pun intended, because we have a particular energetic focus in mind. We have a particular branding, yes, but a particular flavor brand, whatever you want to call it. And no, we do not smell like a weird forest musk there, Isaac. No. Uh, and yes, we do bathe. Thank you. But quite often, more so than you do. But anyway, he throws us off. Anyway, though he did not hear the conversation, he had the cone of silence up front. But at any rate, that's why we mentioned it. Oh, but in this particular way, when we begin to make our mark, when we start to say the truth behind ourselves, it starts to open up for the other groups to have to follow suit. That's the truth in all things, you see. And we're bringing out more of that. And us being at the conference, us being around other groups, it forces them to be genuine. This forces them to either be genuine in their intentions, which they might not be good, or it forces even a more genuine, genuinely good race to show themselves as they are. As you said, some of them donning the religious masks or the look, just to make it so people are more comfortable. Which sometimes it's fine. Our people have done the same, believe it or not. But like himself, I begin to be more abhorrent of that practice. Ligurians are guilty of this, and a couple other frog races. There are several frog races, by the way, and turtle-like ones, and people of this nature. And you've had it done to you uh, through species in the past as well. I will not name names. Well, I'll say Isaac started out as an ant person, then he showed himself as he was. This, yes, and he did it because he knew that would be more genuine to show himself. But it was also because the energies, just like he was blocked from seeing a particular person on Zoom for a long period of time by us. Was a safety measure because it was an SSP alter type situation. It was the thing with his leg. The bullet hole he felt in the leg was a repercussion from what that alter had done, you'd see. And the person, if he had met them, looking them in the face, this would have triggered those memories more, and it would have caused cerebral damage because his body can manifest things fairly quickly, even amidst toxins. So a little bit over time, it came out in the from the subconscious to the unconscious to conscious. That was the safest way to filter it. In this, it is the same for the overall energies. The safest way to filter it is you put your, let's just say, Bigfoot down. Even though we hate that word, it was appropriate for the pun. So, that said, we put our foot down and we're making sure that it sends ripples and waves across the airwaves and across that community. And we're hoping to expand our presence ever forward in that community.
So I also would hope, besides you guys hoping to set a better energetic example being around these things, let's just say, but it also gives energetic contrast because, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, obviously in the process of discernment, that when people are listening to other people and, get to hear different things, they are slowly going to feel either the energies are congruent with what's being said, or they're
Yeah.
going to start to feel there's something off. There's an incongruency here because maybe what's being said isn't genuine and authentic
Yes,
to
it's a
the
vet,
person.
it's an audit and a vetting process which is taking
Yeah.
place.
Which is great because this is the goal for humanity to build their discernment skills. And so, I hope, we're going in the right direction and that people will be able to begin to be able to more vet that out. And of course, I would hope that people's desires are, whatever needs to be changed from religious thought to whatever, to be able to peacefully be able to tease out those threads that maybe weren't genuine and authentic, keep what's good, tease out the threads that aren't, and slowly learn and grow and expand to, choose to be able to be around things that are more genuine and authentic and kind of let go and be okay with letting go of things that aren't. So, I would hope that that is the goal. And again, also in this process of genuine unity, where you will have to learn to agree to disagree. You are going to be able, you come together for what you agree on. You can feel the genuine authenticity of whatever that subject matter is, let's say, and then just choose to let the other go so that there can be cooperation and more positive type experience. So I didn't know this. I honestly did not know that your group, that you guys didn't have, I hate to call it a seat at the table. I did not know that you guys weren't more well represented.
There is an outcome representative for the Galactic Senate, but we it we become kind of the laughing stock in a way, kind of set to the side, kind of like the senator or a congressman at the back of the room that he'll every now and again he'll say something that actually makes sense, and everybody goes, "Yep, yep, yep." Steve, go to the back of the room. That kind of thing. It's like that. Or the weird person in the cafeteria or the lunchroom at the back, or some creepy guy at the back of a bar, that kind of thing. And that's unacceptable to us. The Galactic Senate has a propensity to be very, very inconsiderate and rude. So we are stepping our game up here and showing that this particular little blue ball actually matters to them and their particular future. Now, we've said in the past that, of course, there are those that back you, but there's also just as many that do not. So we are attempting to step to the game. And I will say this, you're not far off from some form of contact. Just not in the way you were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're not far off. And I'm not going to go any further because that would create its own set of problems within your community, like what happened before in the Diamonds community with the disclosure date. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. So it is more or less an energetics that bring you closer to that table, and timeline switches, and therefore you are bringing you're bringing yourself to the table. Essentially, is what it is. You're not far off from at least something, not the thing you were thinking, though. I will give you that. I know that's vague, but there have been improvements that have been made.
Well, good. So, what do you then think of the year we're coming up to, the year 2025? It just a continued still growth year. People will be able to tease out better genuine authenticity and deception. I mean, what do you see if you had to say what was the year 2025 all about? What would you say?
Yeah, some people like to say more transition, and that's more of a tagline that likes to be used. Well, we're going to get through these energies, and and that's been going on and on for many decades now.
Right.
No, I will not deliver something like that, and I'm not a soothsayer, but I will say, as I say the sooth in this way, it is you're going to actually. I don't want to say grand awakening because that's not a thing either. It is more or less you're going to see some people shift perspectives. slightly more rapidly to things, just like they did with your COVID or the politics or anything like that. And the vaccine issue, you saw a big gravitational change in that area. You're just going to start to see that more about the functionality of government. That is really all I can give you in that area.
Well, no, well, that's good in general. So again, everyone gets to the point where they just get so down and it is so hard, and drudging through things and just feel like, why am I bothering? Why am I, trying to do this? Why am I, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm struggling. I'm this, that, and the other. But there are positive, and again, to create a really firm foundation, which is really what we want, as a society in general. You really have to, as we say, see what's going on, but you want a more positive, more unified, firm foundation to grow under your feet than something. Again, we stay away a lot from politics, but the one thing that happened between, when President Trump left office and the new office took in, I think the one thing that took people by surprise was what they thought were all these positive things that had been built up, how quickly they were demolished down, meaning there really wasn't a firm foundation.
There never has been. There's never been any voting in your country. There's never really been any open elections. Anything like that, you're going to start to see a greater version of democracy start to flourish after a while. There are plans though of the cabal to try to unite North America, force unite it, and you've seen it because of the border down, things of that nature. Things in Canada, they were going to try to have Canada secede. You've even heard the joke in passing of, oh, Canada's the 51st state.
Right.
This is a haha version of, let's make it so bad up there they want to come here. Let's make it so bad in Mexico they want to come here. And now, oh, everybody's blended. It's one culture now. They nicknamed that Project New Babylon, and that is not something that is you want, because whose constitution would they choose? What would they do? They'd want something closer either to Europe, like how Canada has, or people would fight for the United States Constitution. It's better to keep them as they are at the moment, to be able to create a slow unity versus knocking all the borders down. So basically, somebody was showing you what that looked like. You don't want that. You want the proper borders, but you also don't want it going too far into a police state either. You want unity, organic unity. Let everything calm down. Spell, even as I'm saying this, let everything calm down, and then you begin to reforge that unity. You're going to start to see some, I will say this, some odd political leanings in the not too distant future. Maybe things that people hadn't thought of will pop up that they either like or dislike. It's going to be more towards some things that you thought were going to happen over the next 4 years might not. And some things that some people would be afraid would happen, but also some people that were wanting to happen. I will get slightly specific. Even some bills that pop up are a good thing, even if they aren't. They don't seem that way. It will be worded strangely. You'll even see more of the alien stuff pop up. And some areas don't believe it because it's some of it's a psyop, some of it is not. But it is a distraction. Same thing with the drones. It's a distraction towards the actual things that are taking place, like the light orbs, for instance. You're going to start seeing more of things like this that are going to be flip booked in your face. A lot of it, take it with a grain of salt, but there will be the good amongst the needle in the haystack in there.
Well, great. And again, it's all about deciding what you want your future to be. Go there. How are we acting? How are we behaving? What does society actually look like? How do we respect one another? How do we respect our children? How do we respect our elderly? How do we do all of that and dream that dream so that that's the reality that comes through?
And the food will also start to improve, regardless of what you feel about like Kennedy or anything like that. You'll start to see some things start to lean whether they're a narrative or not. You'll start to see certain things improve because the cabal is being noticed in the things that they've done. And these corporations are being noticed in the things that they've done. and they have to at least act like they are improving them. So you actually will start to see improvements.
Right. And it is we're in an interesting dilemma since you're just bringing up more world-like and United States-like effects. Because I think, some of the things that have been brought up that does give you pause for thought is things like population reductions that are happening, countries that are not able to sustain themselves, their birth rates are so low. It makes you think those countries may be disappearing in a few generations.
Yes, you'll start to see some of the, unfortunately, that happen because of your COVID debacle, vaccine debacle. You'll start to see, unfortunately, some nations will be no more, borders will change, and you'll start to see some revolts and revolutions in some areas from people that started to realize what has been going on. And sometimes by the time you notice things, it's too late. It's not too late here. It can be fixed, but yes, there is a slight population reduction.
Right. So I find the reason I wanted to bring that up was actually another side, the flip side to the coin, because we say this, but then we don't understand, well, what about the souls waiting, let's just say, people that want to come in. It's an interesting dynamic because we're losing population, but I can't imagine, and this is more philosophical because you're just as, what I mean, physical as I am, the philosophical of those souls that want to come in and make whatever contribution and learn or do whatever, that is there like a log jam now beginning to happen with souls that want to come in?
Don't think of it as a log jam per se, because you have the multiverse, but yeah, you could say it would look like that from your
Okay.
perspective. From a spirit's perspective, they just divvy through timelines or the Yggdrasil tree. But from your perspective, it will start to appear energetically like a cramming log jam is what it would look like. It's a matter of perspective, being grounded with two boots on the ground on the earth, is that's what it would look like. But it really isn't one, but it will appear to be that way.
Okay. Well,
Like the mark of Gideon in your Star Trek, where it was an overpopulated world where they tried to introduce a disease that was showing your COVID thing, and they showed, oh, this is a logjam of people. No, that was propaganda that was being spilled in that. But again, it will appear like a logjam.
so this is humanity, but what about your race? What do you feel is your population growing?
Yes, actually, there's millions of us. So we are starting to reaffirm our like what the ancient elders before, like you mentioned with the youth. Well, even though some of our elders, the Anakam elders, did pass away, dear Farados and a few others, uh, Nick, he did as well. Uh, this is unfortunate, but at the same time, that balance is starting to be reestablished. You're starting to see that with the Antiquan groups as well, to where they never actually really went anywhere. They just kind of shifted dimensions, very much like what happened with Asgard. The Antiquan homeworld is still there, but it's more like a ghost town if you went there. They are actually more here now, and any Antiqua that you've ever spoken to are actually here, on Earth. I will say this, I will say that they can attest to that some other time, but they can get their 2 cents in on GIC or wherever they wish to do it. But it's like he says, it's the preference between chocolate and peanut butter kind of thing, where people can choose their own flavor of butterscotch,
Right.
So with that said, I don't know if you have anything else for me.
No, I think this was great. And, I appreciate you coming in. Again, a little finger to the wind and how we think things are going. I really appreciate it. We didn't know what this conversation was going to be about. I like the idea that, as I always do, that, bring yourself back up out of this. There's no reason to fear the future, let's say. You can put your intentions out to bring in things, and this would be a changing time of bringing things around and bringing things back into the balance that most all of us really genuinely want. So, thank you for coming in, and I'll just leave you with any final words.
Yes, I know this was more impromptu, and some people may judge this as more self-promotion, but, well, sort of. But at the same time, our voice should be at the table, as is yours. I would highly recommend that you aim that need for change as that you deserve a seat at the big boys table. Let's just say that. And yes, I know the irony, Isaac. I'm one of the big boys, bigger brother, like the little X, big X type of joke. Yes, I understand. Big brother and little brother walk side by side. Yes, I get the joke, Isaac. But, but you want a seat at that table. You want that. So I will leave this with you, and always. So thank you. Okay. Yeah, that was more of an impromptu thing this morning. So they like to do a lot of these impromptu. So you're going to see probably far more of the Q&A type format from them. You're going to start seeing more and more of messages like this. You're going to see also, I will say this here, for people on this particular channel that I've not heard about the revamping of Galactic Interstellar Council. It is now Galactic Interversal Consortium, and we are also still doing the lifting shows. You can go to our website, thelifting.net. So, the world of Sasquatch is still part of that family. So, and you'll start seeing it in the world of Dogman too.
Not to cause any confusion, but we decided that we would kind of tab things in subject matter that we think, what I mean, people may find, some
Yeah.
people may find interest in just kind of one of the areas. So that's why, I call it the lifting umbrella, and under the lifting umbrella, there are lots of conversations, some specific.
Yeah, Dogman, Sasquatch, yeah.
Yeah, that, and then some like disclosure in the media where you get into the gamings and different things of what's going on there. Some people have a great interest in that. Other people don't. Conspiracy sector, some people have a very keen interest in hearing these stories. Some people not so much. So we just kind of broke it down a little bit into providing categories of conversation. And so, but it really all falls under the lifting conversation, and then the GIC and the new branding of that.
Yeah.
You may hear us have a broad brushstroke conversation on the lifting of galactic history to get into more details and really get into some nitty gritty details of things like that. That's pretty much done on the GIC side of the
Yeah,
house.
if you go to the website gic.show, that is the quickest way to get to it. There's also Galactic Interversal Consortium. I will put all links below. That's galacticinterversalconsortium.com. It became so large that Bjorn Assistus became the partner with us in that, and it became its own entity after a while. So that I would definitely recommend going and checking that out.
Way more detailed. I mean, when you're talking about all the time that's passed, you know what I mean? We like to, on the lifting, make sure everybody understands the general brushstroke of information and how it affects you now. But a lot of people want to get into the details. They really want to know more about things that were happening. That is really done there, and we really couldn't do it without Bjorn's assistance and everything. And so we're really happy it's working out. But just to give a little explanation so that people understand, this is the creation, these creations of the lifting, but with kind of little subject tabs to help people if they're only interested in certain things. Because again, we say, we've got a lot of information out there that we've talked about all these years, revamping now, trying to put a lot of it now onto Rumble and places that we feel the conversations will be safer, and so that's just kind of explaining. But an overall picture, it's the lifting. So you go to the lifting, you can get to anywhere else and see the different categories of discussion that we have.
Yeah, just go to thelifting.net. All links are there. So I believe we can end this here. So I'm now closing the circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now.